Oh, start? You ready to start? Ready to start? It's supposed to be 6. All right. Well, thank you, guys, everybody that we have online that are streaming with us this evening for our homeownerships and financial literacy solutions workshop. My name is Donald High. I am with Simmons Bank, and I'm here to give you some education on purchasing a house and also a little bit of financial literacy. I have a couple of friends here with me tonight from Simmons Bank. We have a business account representative, and I also have a realtor here with me to give you a little bit of insight of what that looks like on that side. So without further ado, we'll try to get started here. Again, my name is Donald High. I'm with Simmons Bank. I'm the community mortgage loan originator in the Fort Worth area. I service Tarrant and Johnson County. And again, we're going to give you some points if you're looking to purchase a house in the future, or if you just wanted to know what the process looks like. We're going to give you a little bit of education, and we'll get started. Change the slide for me, please. One more. Okay, so first we have our what we're here for is financial literacy. A couple points on this. There are a couple things that you want to look at, take a look at when you're thinking about purchasing a home. And these are some of the key points that you want to look at first. That thought comes up. First off, you always want to pay your bills on time. It sounds like it should be an easy statement. However, things do come up. Financial situations do come up, but either way, you want to make sure you pay your bills to the best of your ability, because the most important thing in this process is that last word, your credit worthiness. That's going to impact your credit. It's going to tell us what your worthiness is in paying us back that we loan you the money to purchase it. So you always want to make sure you pay your bills on time. That'll strengthen your credit report. It'll also strengthen you as a borrower, called a borrower. Second thing you want to look at is you want to create a budget or a spending plan when you're looking at purchasing a home. It's a very, very, very big investment, probably one of the biggest investments that you'll make in your life. So you kind of want to get disciplined on how you spend your money. Mortgage payments aren't small. We're not talking about typically bigger than rent. Well, in these days, rent is kind of catching up because the lack of inventory is out there. So, but at the end of the day, a mortgage payment is a big, big investment. So you want to create a budget, a spending budget, and you kind of want to be disciplined around your money. With that comes a spending plan. You want to look at what the necessaries are and what the necessaries aren't. One of the examples I'll give you is you'll sign up for a plan, and it tell you it's a 7-day free trial, right? And after that 7th day, you don't think about it, and after the 7th day, it starts hitting your account. You start paying for that service that you got a free trial for. Certain things, small things like that, you want to take that out of your budget. That's unnecessary, what we call unnecessary spending. So you want to create a budget spending plan. The necessaries: lights, water, food, gas. Just what the necessaries are up until you purchase that house, and then you can always revamp your budget. Third, the third line here is pay at least the minimum amount required. What that means is if you're a person who typically uses a lot of your credit cards, you want to make a little bit more than what the minimum payment is. Case in point, you'll have a $2,000 balance on one of your Capital One credit cards. The bill comes in, and the minimum payment is $25. Well, if you just pay $25, you're going to be paying for that for a while. So you always want to pay at least that $25, but you want to pay a little bit more. And what that does, in turn, is going to help your debt-to-income ratio. And we'll get to that in a second. Another thing you want to do surrounding you purchasing a home is you want to see what your credit report looks like. Now, I know there's different things, different platforms out there that'll give you your credit score. Credit Karma is not your true credit score. Credit Karma is a credit platform for credit cards. So your Credit Karma credit score is going to be higher than your true Equifax, TransUnion credit score. And the way you can look at that is go to your annualcreditreport.com. You get a free credit report every year, one free credit report. And if you go to that website that I have listed below there, you type in your information and you can receive your free credit report. Now, it does not give you your scores, but it does give you what's on your credit report. Collections, charge-offs, trade lines, so on and so forth. That's okay, because that's what you want to manage. If there are any erroneous charge-offs, collections, or anything of that sort, you want to dispute those and you want to get those off of your credit report. Now, when I pull it, I can tell you what your scores are. But the annual credit report does not give you your scores. However, it does give you what's on your credit report. Now, back to what we were talking about, the debt-to-income ratio. That's what your DTI is. That's how much money you have coming in versus how much money you have going out. That's very important because that tells me how much house you can afford. So you want to pay attention to that. The way you pay attention to that is your pay versus your budget. We talked about it a minute ago. And that will determine a healthy debt-to-income ratio. You want to pay attention to that. That all goes along with, hand in hand with a budget and your spending plan. So once you know what you have coming in, you want to know what you have coming out, that's going to give you your debt-to-income. And you want to keep that at a minimum to 15 to 20%. Now, we can go higher than 20%. We can go up to 40%. However, a little bit more, it's a little bit better, a little bit more feasible if we try to stay around that 20 to 30% range, right? Lastly, about your credit cards, the last statement I want to, or point I want to make about your credit cards, you want to have a healthy balance between your credit cards. What that means is you want to keep a 70, what we call a 70-30 ratio. You want to use 30% of your credit cards, and you want to have 70% of it available. That shows that you're a strong borrower. That shows that us looking at your credit report is that you know how to manage that credit. So again, 30-70 or 70-30. 30% use, 70% available. And then lastly, on the financial literacy piece, you want to get a good savings plan. And what that'll do is you have down payments when you're looking at purchasing a home, closing costs. That's up front. Once you purchase the home, you don't have a landlord anymore. You're responsible for any major repairs or anything that breaks down or anything that goes wrong with the property. You're responsible for it. So that's where the major expenses come in. So you want to make sure you have a good savings plan going into this situation. Next slide, please. Okay, now we'll get into a little bit of the mortgage process. And this kind of helps myself and also help you when you're going to talk to someone like myself, a mortgage loan officer, when you're looking at purchasing a home. First thing you want to look at is you want to prepare your personal or business documents to be submitted electronically. What that means is very simple. You want to make sure you have your last 2 years' tax returns, your 30 days worth of bank statements, 2 months of, 30 days worth of pay stubs, 2 months of bank statements, checking and savings. You want to always have that on hand, ready when you're going down that road of purchasing, because that's the first thing I'm going to ask you for. That's going to give me the picture of what you look like financially. And we don't want to wait until the process is started until we start turning that stuff in. You want to be ready to turn that in as soon as you're looking to get pre-approved for it. Now it comes to where you'll meet with me. You'll meet with a mortgage professional to help you determine which loan product is best fit you to qualify. But we have a lot of different programs out there, and we'll go through a few today as we go through our workshop. But those documents that I spoke of earlier will help me determine what's the best program for you going forward in purchasing a home. And thirdly, your lender will also help you determine how much home you can afford. Again, that's where we had the conversation of the debt to income ratio, your credit balance, your credit worthiness, and along with the documents that we spoke of, that will determine me, or will let me determine what's the best program for you and how much house you can afford. Next slide, please. Okay, mortgage process continue. Now that you've sat with me, we've talked, we've got to meet. We've had some social time, and you've gotten me your documents. I've told you how much house you can afford. We got you pre-qualified. Now it's time to look for a local real estate professional. My job is to get you the money. This person's job is to find your dream home. So I do consider myself a jack of all trades. However, I'm not a real estate agent. So I did bring a real estate agent with me to kind of talk to you about that process.
Donald for that. My name is Noelle Bowen, and I am with the Marine. So that would be my piece. I get an opportunity to work with you. I've already started the first component, finding out qualifying, working through it. For me, the best experience, a requirement. Start our process. At that point, Donald just to that point. Once we know how much able, then we start having our relationship and our conversation. The basic demographics of home, and we take that for your this better. Ooh, sorry. So sorry for all that. Hopefully still got the gist of what I was sharing. So as we continue to build through the process, we build a relationship. We've already made a connection with the lender. And let me just say that sometimes that process can be a little opposite. Sometimes you'll meet me first, and then you'll meet me. But either way, that is still the process in that relationship. So as I was stating with you, it's really important that, of course, that we get through the financial piece and we get the pre-approval date, so that, again, we're an operating level of excellence, so that your time is valuable. That's what I'm here to do, build that relationship of value while you're going through the steps. Our desire, of course, is to identify those demographics as I shared with you before, and then we start the process. The hope is that, I don't want to get too heavy in it because the real estate component is kind of detailed, and it has a lot of moving parts as well. But what I do want to state here is that it's important to have a relationship and having a realtor. So Donald and I, for example, we would have a relationship with you to make sure that and that it's a smooth transition and go through, as the slide indicates, there are several different steps to get to the final step. So we will partner together and ensure that we're all having a level of communication. So with that being said, it was an honor to talk to you for just a moment. I'm hoping that as you continue literacy, we'll be able to form a relationship. Thank you, Don.
Thank you for that, Ms. Noelle. That is Noelle Bowen, one of my favorite realtors. Towards the end here, if you do have any more questions, I have her information available to you. Looking to speak with her. Moving on in the mortgage process. So she spoke about her piece, finding your home, submitting an offer. Once you find that dream home, Noelle, she'll do her piece in submitting an offer for you. Offer gets accepted, you'll submit those terms to me. Then you'll start the process of getting a property inspection. And what that will do is that will determine if there's anything wrong with the property that's going to cause you pain and money in the future. For instance, roof. You could have roof problems that hasn't been told to you in the negotiation time. HVAC, AC, furnace, heat, anything like that. That inspector is going to check all of that stuff and make sure it's up to code, and that make sure that everything is, nothing needs to be repaired, or, pretty much that the house is livable. The house is pretty much move-in ready. Next, you'll look at getting your homeowner's insurance. I did have an insurance guy that was going to come and speak with you, but unfortunately, he had an emergency come up. So if you do have any questions surrounding the homeowner insurance piece, leave it in the comments box, and we'll see if we can get those questions answered for you. But pretty much self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure everybody who's watching owns a car. So a little bit bigger premium and bigger deductible when it comes to that, but the same concept. You want to insure your property, fire, flood, so on and so forth. You want to make sure that you're taken care of there. So that's kind of what the insurance piece looks like. Next, we'll have begin planning for home maintenance and work that into your new budget. If you're looking to put in appliances or putting a pool in, a deck or something like that, you can start planning for that as I'm doing my piece on the back end and getting the financing set. Once the financing is approved, then you'll go to closing, and then, as you see, you'll get your keys to your new home. So a lot of steps. Be honest with you, it can be bumpy. This is not an easy process. A lot of moving pieces. Like I said, I will tell you this is one of the biggest and most stressful investments that you'll do in your life. However, that's my job, is to make it easy. Next slide, please. So just kind of going behind the curtain a little bit, and like I said about a lot of the moving pieces that take place in this process. These are the names or job titles, as you will, of the team that is working in conjunction to get this done for you. First and foremost, you have myself as a loan officer. We've already talked about what I do. I gather the documents, make sure what's the best program for you, let you know how much house you can afford, and then we get you in contact with a real estate agent, and then she does the real estate. He or she will do their thing. Now, we do have a housing counselor in here, and what that is there are certain programs in certain counties and certain areas that can assist you with purchasing that home. Again, that's a whole totally different concept or conversation that we can have. Definitely more than willing to have that with you offline if there's a question in that area. But that kind of sums up what that job is as far as on the team as a housing counselor. A housing counselor is going to take in your situation and see if there's some assistance that is needed in purchasing your home. Again, we have the real estate agent. Miss Bowen came up here and spoke with you. We have the loan underwriter, very important. The underwriter is going to make sure that I did my job correctly on the front end. They're going to make sure that the bank is making a good investment. They're going to make sure that all the boxes are checked, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed with whatever program, with whatever program that we decide to go with. The other important piece is the appraiser. The appraiser is going to come in and make sure that house is valued at the price that you negotiated on your contract. So they're going to come in, they're going to take a look at the home, they're going to assess their neighborhood. They may do some comps, what we call comps, comparables to other properties in the neighborhood. And they're just going to really just make sure that whatever that value that you contracted on that property is what it is. Again, we talked about the home inspector. They're going to come in and they're going to inspect the home and make sure that it's move-in ready and livable. We talked about the insurance agent. They're going to help you get insurance on the property and make sure you're taken care of. And then lastly, we have the title company. So when you saw that word go to your closing, That's where your closing is going to take place, at the title company. They're going to go in also, and they're going to make sure that there's nothing on the back end unsight foreseen on the property, as anything as a mechanic's lien, or there's any back taxes, or anything that you're not walking into that you're not responsible of from a financial standpoint. They're going to make sure that title is clean. Again, comparable to a car. You get a title to a car, you want to make sure that that title is clean. There's no money owed on the car. Same thing with the home. You want to make sure that there's no liens, i.e. that the property owner didn't owe anybody. And most importantly, that the taxes have been paid on the property. Next slide, please. And on this slide here, you take a look at some of the questions that we have. I like to put this out and just kind of ask yourself, take down some of these questions. And these are just some good questions just to kind of go over with yourself or with your family, with your significant other, or you can have it with me. Do you want the responsibility of owning a home? We can dive into that just a little bit. Again, I talked about earlier about, there's no landlord now. So there's nobody that you can say, hey, my water's not working, you need to come and fix it. That responsibility is on you. Cutting the grass, something as simple as cutting the grass, that's your responsibility. Excuse me. So one thing you want to ask yourself, do you want to take on the responsibility of owning a home? How long do you plan on living in the area? Is it because of school reasons, job? You want to make a plan on, is that going to be your forever home, starter home? That's just some of the things that you want to look at. Do you want to live in that area that you're looking at going to? Do you want to live, how long do you want to live there? What's your plan? Do you want to live there 2 years and then sell? And that's a strategic conversation that you can have with your realtor as well, because she can give you data, he or she can give you data on future and past about that area that you're looking to buy in. Do you have established credit? Again, I can't bring this home enough, is you want to pay attention to what your credit looks like. Do you have any credit? Do you know if you have credit? That's a question that you want to ask yourself. What is your credit score? Again, annualcreditreport.com does not give you your credit score. However, I can. So that'll come with the consultation. And I definitely can let you know, where you are credit score-wise. As far as living history, do you have at least 2 years living history? Have you been renting for 2 years? The reason why that's key is because if we have a small blip on your credit, well, I can look back and I can say, well, they've been renting for 2 years, and we can prove that they haven't been late on their rent for 2 years. And 2 years is just a benchmark. So do you have that living history? Do you have that rental history? Or have you been living with mom and dad or a friend or so on and so forth? Well, we can't really look at that living history if you haven't been renting for that long. Your income, what do you have sufficient income to purchase to live? Yeah, you may qualify for the home, but are you going to be working to live in that home? Do you make enough sufficient income to have a feasible life once you do get this house? Because, you don't want to be working to live. So you want to look at that as well. Look at your income. How much house do you afford? Again, that is a part of my job, and I can assist you with that. Do you have a reasonable amount of debt? What that means is again, it goes back to that 30-70 rule. Do you have a small credit card that you're paying on, that you're using? Again, using up 30%, maintaining 70% availability. In bankruptcy, foreclosure, certain big hits like that. Have you ever been a part of a foreclosure? Have you ever had a bankruptcy? Those things you want to take care of as well. Now, there are stipulations behind that. Just because you do have those, that does not mean that you do not qualify. That is a conversation that we can have if that is something that you have been through. But just to let you know, that does not mean that that's a deal killer. We'll have to assess your situation case by case, and there are, in some situations, that we can get past that. But you do want to make sure that you have your proper paperwork, and if your name has ever been attached to a foreclosure order. Next slide, please. Okay, now we'll get into some of the residential mortgage loan programs. So we have existing or new construction. What that means is if you're buying a pre-existing home already built, typically being lived in from a family already, or do you want to build your own? Do you want to build your own home? Do you want a single family or a multi-unit? Do you want a townhome? Do you want a condominium? We have government loans that we'll talk about here coming up in the next slides that can help you attain these properties. One of the most popular is our conventional. That's up to $625,000. We have a jumbo if you're looking to purchase up to $2 million. And then we'll talk about our portfolios loans coming up, what that means coming up here in the next couple slides. Next slide, please. So first, on the government programs that we just spoke of, most popular one is our FHA program. If you see the points here, it's 3.5% down. That's 3.5% of the purchase price. Gifts and down payment assistance are allowed. So when I spoke of the housing counselor, that's one of the areas where you can get, again, assistance for your down payment. I do have outlets to that as well. Gifts, what they mean is a family member can gift you funds for your down payment. That is allowed. 640 credit score gets you in the door. Remember we talked about the bankruptcy again. Just because you do have one does not mean that you do not qualify. As you see, as long as it's discharged for 24 months, then we can work with it. So just because you have a file for bankruptcy at some point in your life does not mean you don't qualify. Again, 1 to 4 family properties qualify as well. You do have to live in the property. You cannot use government funds to purchase an investor home. This mortgage is backed by the government. Does not mean you can go into foreclosure without a problem. However, for us, if we do have to go down that enforcement road, the government will pay off that loan, and the issue will be between you and the payee. There are no income restrictions, meaning that you can't make too much and you can't make too less. Our max loan amount has just increased. It was $548, as you see here. I want to say it is up to $642,250 now. That just came out a couple months ago. So I don't have the exacts, but I want to say it's up to $642,250 now. And automated underwriting, what that means is a computer system is underwriting the information that I put in, and then the underwriters will go back and verify that information. Next slide, please. Next, we have our VA loan. So I'm a veteran myself, so I really like this program. Back in 1956, when these soldiers came home, Washington said that if we don't give our veterans something, we should give them a place to stay. So the VA loan benefit was created. This is a zero down payment loan. If you have served at any point, if you at least served 180 days in the military, you do qualify for this program, amongst a few other documents that we'll need to prove that. Again, just like the FHA loan, gifts and down payment assistance are allowed. 620 credit score gets you in the door. Veterans and spouse or widow only. So what that means is if you have if you were married to a veteran, and unfortunately they passed away, you as their widow can also qualify for this program. It is also a government-backed mortgage, just like we talked about the FHA. And then it is also automated underwriting. Again, meaning that information is put into a computer system, and then a live person is verified. Next slide, please. Another one of our government-backed programs that we have is the USDA. Now, typically this is used for rural areas, but there are some tracts within Tarrant and Johnson County that do qualify. but mostly it's going to be on your outskirts, rural areas. It's a 100% financing, meaning that if you contract 200,000, then we're going to finance 200,000 if you qualify. One of the different caveats to this program that no other program allows you to do is you can finance your closing costs on this program. So closing costs, depending on what your contractor price is going to be, can range anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000. With this program, you can finance that into the USDA program. It's just like when you purchase a car. Again, I'm going to use that analogy that you finance your tax title and license. I don't typically advise that, but it is an option. It's a government-funded, government-backed mortgage. Like I spoke of before, it's typically used in your rural and your outskirts areas of the Metroplex. Income restrictions do apply to this. And if this is a program that you want to use, they do vary, so we can talk about that. We can go down that road. Lastly, there is no max loan limit on this. So you can go up to $2 million, $3 million, or as low as, I want to say $150,000. Next slide, please. And this is one of your most popular, I won't say popular, but most common loans that you use is our conventional loan. It's typically 10%. You can go up to 20%. You can put as much down as you would like, but for guidelines' sake, the lowest you can do is 5%. We typically require 10% on our conventional loans with our bank. 3% down payment option for moderate income earners. That's where your housing counselor comes in again and gives you that certificate that you're a low to moderate income consumer. And then we can take a look at reducing that down payment down to 3%. 640 credit score gets you in the door. The max loan amount is $625,000. Again, this is also automated underwriting. Again, where information is put into a computer system, and then a live person is verifying it. Next slide, please. And this one is my favorite. This is our 100% Advantage Home Mortgage Program. This is Simmons' flagship mortgage product. Because we're so integral in the community, we have came up with this 100% Advantage Home Mortgage Program, which allows us to finance 100% homes, communities that we live in. So, for instance, if you're renting a home in the community that you grew up in or in a low to moderate income tract, we can finance that property for at 100%, zero down. Down payment assistance programs do qualify along with this. Closing cost programs do qualify with this. Grants and gifts are allowed. So all cards are on the table in financing and getting this property are allowed with our 100% Advantage Mortgage Program. Income, there are income restrictions. The max is 120% AMI. What that means is you cannot make more than 120% of what that data says in that area. And again, if this is a product that you choose, we can talk about those areas and what that data says. The eligible tracts that I work with are Johnson and Tarrant County. However, we do also service Dallas and Collin County. 620 credit score gets you in the door. We can use what we call alternative credit. So if you don't have a strong score, or in some instances you may only get one credit score that shows, nowadays everybody has a cell phone that comes with a bill. You may not know, but that's being tracked. We can use that. That's an alternative credit. If you're paying rent to a landlord, to an apartment complex, that's alternative credit. That shows that you paid your bills on time. We can use that in conjunction with your raw credit score if it does not suffice. So there's a lot of leeway with this program. Debt to income ratio, we talked about this earlier. We can go as low as 43%, we can go as high as 45%. okay? A lot of programs don't allow you to go over to 40%. So again, this program has been created to really, really, really help the low to moderate income. This is a portfolio loan product. What that means is that we own that loan. Simmons Bank services that loan. That means you'll make your payments to Simmons Bank. You have any issues, any concerns, you go into foreclosure, that business is done with Simmons Bank. What that means to you is, you may be saying, well, Donald, what does that mean to me? What that means to you is that typically what happens is when you close on a mortgage, that mortgage is sold off in what they call the secondary market. Your payee could change 45 different times in that 30-year period or however long you keep that house. It's going to continue to get sold. If you use our 100% Advantage mortgage program, a portfolio product, you'll always pay Simmons Bank. So you'll always know who you owe. And again, like I said, we won't sell that loan off. We service it. If you have any issues, we'll be able to take care of it quickly. We're not searching for who owns your mortgage, so on and so forth. But what I would like to do in closing, again, I would like to thank you guys for, you can change the slide again. In closing, I would like to thank you guys again for giving me your time and joining me tonight and getting a little bit of information. I hope it was helpful to you and getting some information on purchasing a home. My information is on the screen. So if you do want to get pre-qualified, you want to take care of that before you call me. That link on the second line under pre-qualify, if you want to go to that link, that'll take you to my application. You can fill it out. It'll come back to me. I'll give you a call. We can have a conversation. Or you can have my phone number. You can call me directly or shoot me an email, and I'll be glad to speak with you. Also, in closing, Simmons Bank not only does mortgages, we have a lot of different consumer products. We have checking accounts. We have savings accounts. Most importantly, we have our business accounts. So if you do also need help in those areas, we have credit cards. We have cash secured credit cards, and we have representative on standby to help you in that area as well. Again, like I said, business accounts, checking accounts, business loans, products. In this day and age, a lot of people are starting businesses. Access to funds to start businesses hasn't been as easy has it ever been in today's time. So if you do need help in that area as well, that's something that I can get you in contact with, and some of my referral partners will get you on the right track. At this time, we want to open it up to any questions that you may have. I guess you would just type them in, send them in, and let us know, and we'll try to get those answered for you. No, it does not. It does not expire. No, it does not expire. As long as you're able to get your certificate, of eligibility, you're good to go. But no, it does not expire. Good question. So up front, you want to take that, or you want me to take it?
Great question. So there's no real standard, right? We just typically do 3% is typically what our commission has been. That is always negotiable. So there's always room for various reasons why that may be. But yeah. No. Typically the buyer doesn't pay that, the seller does. However, there are some that there may be a reason why a buyer would have to pay commission. But again, that will be one-off conversations that you have with your lawyer so that you will both be on most of the time. Because we do go into contract with our buyers and everything is filled out so that we're all clear about what.
I want to piggyback on the VA question that came up. One thing I do want to let you know, we are able to obtain that certificate of eligibility for you. So I know you had asked, does it expire? And then I said, as long as you're able to get your certificate of eligibility, I can guarantee you, well, how do I get that? We can obtain that for you. Process typically takes 30 days. We like to shoot for 30 days. In this market, it's not uncommon to go at least 40. You start touching that 45-day range, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for somebody else, but we like, here at Simmons, we like to shoot for 30 days. 30 days, typically. So, you mean pre-qualified and pre-approved. So, yes, there is a difference between being pre-qualified and pre-approved. Not a very big difference, but a very important difference. So, pre-qualified means you came with me, you filled out an application, I pulled your credit, you got a 620, bam. That box is checked. You put your income on the application, it's gonna ask you for your income, what your income is. I look at your income that you put on there. Now again, we're in the pre-qualified, this is getting pre-qualified. You put down 4,000, okay, bam. Your debt to income ratio comes out at 43% based off of what you put on the application, okay? Now, here's a small difference between a pre-qualification and pre-approval. You did not send me your income documentation, spoke of in the beginning. So once you send me your income documentation, I package that up, I send that to my underwriter. They say this person is A-OK, good to go. Now you are pre-approved. The conversation that you had with me, if I do not get your income documentation, you're just pre-qualified. Now, why is that important? I call on my friend Noelle here. She asked me, are they pre-qualified or are they pre-approved? The reason why she's asking me that question is she has to take you around and look for housing. You're not solid on being pre-approved. Now, I wouldn't anticipate you putting on anything erroneous on the application. However, pre-approval is more solid than a pre-qualification. Pre-qualification is nothing more than a conversation. Pre-approval, we have submitted your documentation to an underwriter, they have looked at it, they have literally given you this. Unfortunately not. That will be my friend, Miss Noelle. Noelle can help you in that area. So your realtor that you get with is the person who's going to help you with that cash offer. Unfortunately, no, we the business of cash offer. Yes, absolutely. And well, in some cases, it depends. It depends if it makes sense. You know, it's, again, I love to use this analogy, but it's just about a car. You know, do you want something to get you from A to B, or do you want a BMW or a Lexus? Does the average person have $75,000 laying around to go and buy a Lexus? No. But yeah, it just depends. It just depends on what your situation is and what you're looking to accomplish. But yeah, in some cases they do make sense. Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody's situation is different. Questions, bring them on up. So the difference between an inspection and appraisal, again, is the inspection is going to tell you if that house has anything majorly wrong with it, i.e. the roof, AC, how old the AC is, your piping. You know, I'll give you an example. I think copper piping is ruled out in all properties. I think you can have copper piping. Now, do properties have copper piping? Yes, absolutely. But that house has never been in a sale situation, because it has effectively picked up on that. That's a major expense you got. An appraiser is going to tell you the value of it. They're not going to worry about if the roof is holes in it. Now, does that go against your value? It could. It could. Yeah, definitely could. But that's not the appraiser's job. The appraiser's job is to tell you how much. That's the difference between. What question, Brother Johnson? Well, if we have no more questions, I guess we'll adjourn our home buyers workshop this evening, and look forward to doing it with you guys again. Again, I want to thank you. Simmons would like to thank you for your ear and your time. Again, you have my information. Please give me a shout if I can help you out in any way. We'll put it back up on the screen again. If you can go back to that last slide that has there you go, phone number and my email. Shoot me a text message, shoot me an email. Go on and get pre-qualified. Hey, I mean, if you don't know, go ahead and fill it out, and let's just have a conversation. Just because you fill out an application doesn't mean you have to buy a house tomorrow or next week. If you just want to know where you stand, give me a call. We'll talk about it. Thank you guys again.